So a number of you are going to notice from the thumbnail of this video that I'm going to be covering Feminist frequency. No, this is not a Thunderfoot guest video, and I'm not going to use clips from him because they're the same rehashed memes around typical, very obvious condescending mockery, which is good for 2015. But in current year, Feminist frequency is doing a fundraiser, and I think this is a fantastic opportunity to address it along with the hosts and some of those lovely little goals that they have going on right now. So first of all, let's start with the pinned tweet on their Twitter page. It's time for this year's fundraiser for the second annual Feminist Frequency Spring Campaign. Our goal of $35,000, nowhere near as much as the last campaign I might add, covers the costs to create fresh femme-freak web series like Queer Tropes and The Freak Show, host workshops and training sessions, and to hire the kind of inclusive, diverse team that we advocate for. Now before I click on that link and show you what is on there, it's actually just a donation page, so we're not going to click on it at all. Lol. Last year they did, I think it was last year or maybe 2016, they did a campaign to raise $200,000 to make a very short video series on influential women in history. Now the videos weren't actually too bad, to be honest, certainly not by comparison to previous content, back when they were relevant, which we will get to soon. But I do want to point out now, you really shouldn't have gotten rid of Jonathan McIntosh. His pop culture detective agency is doing fantastic numbers. Some of his videos, I think, got millions of views. Now, one of the things that stood out about this second annual Feminist Frequency Spring campaign, excluding the target, was the fact that some of the goals for this included, at $25,000, we'll launch an official FemFreak Discord, where campaign supporters can chat with each other and the FemFreak team. I'll be honest, Discord is free. If I knew I could charge $25,000 to have my patrons in one place, I still wouldn't have done it. That's a dick move. I'd rather be grateful than beg it. This is hilarious, because as stated, it is a free thing to use. And you know for a fact that the three main features of that channel, Anita especially, will not be there to talk to them. Why bother? They've already given up their money. Why give them your time when you have valuable speaking engagements to go to where you could talk shit about people? And of course, advocate for feminism. For an additional $10,000 and to hit the full $35,000 target, Anita, Caro and Ebony will virtually visit a high school class to engage them in a discussion about feminism and pop culture. Now initially I thought this meant like they'd basically taken the word virtually out of place for literally, like step foot in a school. No, this is a Skype call. It costs $10,000 to get them to go on a Skype call with you. If I knew it costed that much, I'd start a fundraiser now so I could get Anita Sarkeesian on Moist Ski Live. I think it'd be fun. Now we all know this school, whichever school it is they choose to go to, virtually go to, is not going to be a school that doesn't advocate for social justice. So it's going to be a school in a particular area of California, not to be confused with California, because California is the part that wants to secede from California so it doesn't end up being dragged away with the rest of the state when they try and secede from the US, because they're butthurt and they refuse to accept defeat. Or do some very basic things, pay your taxes right, just one thing. In any case, this is all rather amusing, and when I heard the target was so low, it raised a few alarm bells. I didn't think it was just because of the Discord server and the Skype call. I thought perhaps it might have something to do with the channel's state, and by that I mean the state of Feminist Frequency's channel now. So right now the channel sits on 224,000 subscribers. Congratulations. That's not a bad number, certainly nothing to sniff at. I am jealous. But what I'm not jealous of are the views. Your current views. Whether that is reflective of your relevance or the quality of your content, I will leave that to everyone else to decide. But your content has clearly seen better days. We know this because in 2015, 2016, your videos were being responded to by everyone. Maybe your relevance has passed. At this point, and I know some people say your channel is dead if you don't retain a certain percentage of your audience. I believe others claim to be 40%. With me, I'm just happy anyone watches, so a percentage is redundant. But I get the point that your channel was considered dying if you're not retaining a certain percentage of your audience. And if it is 40%, you're off ever so slightly. You know you're struggling or you're doing something wrong when you're barely scratching 2,000 views. Unless it's that really clickbaity, it's a privileged party and most of you are not invited title. Just to confirm my suspicion that your channel is dying or borderline catatonic at this point, we go to your social blade, where we see you average similar views to myself, but the subscriber number is a bit, yeah, that's not good. For me, I don't think this channel is going to survive another year, unless you make drastic changes. Now granted, you grew off the back of being incredibly annoying, because you made content that was not only very inaccurate, but it was obnoxiously delivered by someone who just pissed everyone off. And I mean that fake gamer girl. Gamergate made you. But unfortunately, due to its irrelevance now, people are seeing through all the nonsense and they're bored of watching the same videos where you talk about tropes and of course the fault of white people. I still remember the memes that were made with that picture of Jonathan McIntosh looking all sad and you look like you were telling him off. That was amazing. And it's a shame that you as a channel are not progressing, but that is the unfortunate consequence of a channel that has gotten past a certain peak. Your magnum opus were those videos you never completed. When you did the initial fundraiser for however many thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands, and you never even completed it in the time frame. Hell, you never even completed it with an extra year. If I remember correctly, you asked for more money to finish it. For me, I always assumed this channel was more of a platform to allow Anita Sarkeesian to go out of her way to get speaking engagements so she could charge inordinate amounts of money to advocate for social justice and feminism. And I think I'm right. Although I could also be right if I say that I believe the quality of the content has diminished because someone like Jonathan McIntosh is not writing for it. And just by looking at his social blade, I think I'm correct. Which is sad, really, isn't it? I think that's all I have to say on that. So before we finish, perhaps I will cover another topic, something else that is just as stupid. Let's talk about the fact that Christy Winters, to get back at anti-SJWs, would jump in bed with the alt-right to spite the anti-SJWs. This is something I didn't think was true, but I noticed it on Twitter when one of my patrons was retweeting something by someone called Drolasta. After scrolling through her tweets, it occurred to me that Christy was using guilt by association to rail on Ranting Feminist, because Ranting Feminist was friends with Sean Head, who was friends with Lauren Southern. And then Christy Winters engaged in conversation with JF Garipe via comments. Well, I say engaged in conversation. She left a comment on one of his videos, which seemed rather interesting to me. How much of a hypocrite or how desperate are you to get one over on people who have pwned you for years? Okay, granted, Sargon Vakard, you destroyed him in a debate. It's just something of interest to me. I don't get involved in this tit-for-tat drama, and I don't because I'm not interested in being involved in it. Like most hypocrites, I will quite happily sit back and watch, but I find it fascinating that you would do anything you can to spite anti-SJWs, or people you have deemed to be an anti-SJW. I'm sure when Baron got his channel terminated, you were celebrating. That we can all be sure of. But now that he's gone for however long he is gone for, who are you going to turn to next? I only ask because I'm a tiny channel and I could do with the lols. Hashtag Fisty would rather get in bed with the alt-right than simply engage with anti-SJWs or people she decides are anti-SJWs because that would be the sensible thing to do. How very grown up. In any case, I think we're done here. I have, for those that are interested, I believe I have an empty house tomorrow or today when this video is put out. So, if you are interested, I will be streaming on my third channel, which I've had for a while, called Omegon Plays. I'm going to be playing 7 Days to Die. Probably, maybe something else, I don't know. I might play Space Hulk Ascension, I haven't actually decided. I will be tomorrow at some point, be playing for most of the day. So, if you're interested in joining, the link is in the description. So I hope everyone here has a lovely day, and thank you all very much for listening.
I've got downs. Imagine my shock